What is going on, OJ's Mafia guys? How are the people doing? Listen everybody, today I'm giving out the full card predictions for UFC Fight Night Gaziev Rozenstruik versus Gaziev. I'm very interested in this Fight Night event, guys. I think we're going to see a lot of finishes. I think it's just going to be a great card regardless. I think it's a pretty under the radar type of event. So stay tuned, man. Enjoy the fights this weekend. I'm going to be giving out my detailed predictions on every single fight on the card, guys. So I just want to say real quick, at UFC Mexico last night, we went 9-12 on the card. We did pretty good. You know, could have done better, but could have done a lot worse as well, you know what I'm saying? So we're stuck in a pretty good spot right now in 2024 for predictions. I'm doing really well in my honest opinion, guys. And I just want to say to anyone that watches my prediction videos, thank you so much for all the support, guys. I really do appreciate it. You know, with these prediction videos, I don't really aim to get the most views. That's not what I'm here for. I just want to give out, you know, my detailed predictions and really help anybody that's trying to make money. But regardless, guys, let's get straight into the video. Like, subscribe, comment, do all that good stuff. And the first fight on the card, guys, Christian Leroy Duncan versus Claudio Ribeiro. I'm going to go with Christian Leroy Duncan here. I think Claudio Ribeiro, he's 1-2 in the UFC, has a negative fight IQ. You know, he does have some nasty low leg kicks, you know, but he really just kind of relies on his power, you know, hooks, fucking big overhand rights, and he's got a very limited skill set in my honest opinion. I don't think he's, you know, the best fighter on the roster, whereas Christian Leroy Duncan, this guy seems to be a stud in the middleweight division. He's 2-1 in the UFC, really good striking, you know what I mean, just fucking good teeps, good kicks, good straight punches. Has a pretty solid ground game, and I think he has a lot of time to evolve in the UFC. So my prediction for this fight, I'm going to go Christian Leroy Duncan by TKO in the third round. I think Claudio Ribeiro is going to give him a tough first round. I think Ribeiro is going to come out the gates fucking swinging, trying to take Christian Leroy Duncan's head off. But I think, you know, the longer the fight goes, it's going to favor CLD. It's going to favor Christian Leroy Duncan to get a knockout, and I think he's going to finish a exhausted, destroyed, you know, Claudio Ribeiro in the third round. As long as Christian Leroy Duncan gets past the first round, I think he's going to make light work of Ribeiro in the second round, kind of piece him up at range, throw some kicks, just kind of, you know, go to the body with the body kicks, just beat the shit out of Claudio Ribeiro. And then in the third round, I see Ribeiro being tired and Christian Leroy Duncan beating his ass. So guys, give me Christian Leroy Duncan to win this fight by third round TKO after, you know, facing adversity in the first round. But we move on into the 155-pound division. Loik Radzhabov versus Abdul Karim El Sawadi. I'm going with Loik Radzhabov here, guys. I'm taking the underdog here with Loik Radzhabov fighting out of Tajikistan. I think this guy can get the job done. He's 1-1 in the UFC. Recently lost to Mateusz Rebecki, but as far as I'm concerned, I think losing to Mateusz Rebecki is not really too bad, to be honest with you. I think Rebecki is pretty fucking good. But Karim Abdul El Sawadi, man, this guy is a stud. You know, he was a 5-1 underdog on the Dana White Contender Series, went out there, basically looked like a 5-1 favorite, pieced up George Hardwick and got the decision victory. Looks really fucking good. But one thing that I want to say, guys, 30% of UFC fighters that make their debut, you know what I mean, coming out from the Dana White Contender Series, end up losing their fights, or end up winning their fights, pardon me. So that's like 30%. That's not that much. I don't think El Sawadi is going to perform here. I think Loik Radzhabov is going to, you know, not only push the pace, but I think he's going to land the bigger, the cleaner shots, you know, have the momentum switch with the big overhands. You know, he does have some power in his shots, and he mixes it up really well with the takedowns, likes to get trips. I do think that Loik Radzhabov is going to push the pace here, kind of keep El Sawadi on the back foot and land the bigger shots throughout the fight, get the takedowns, mix it up for a 29-28 unanimous decision win, guys. Give me the underdog in Loik Radzhabov. We move on into the next fight in the bantamweight division. Javid Basharat versus Amin Zahabi. Give me Javid Basharat to win. It's not even a question. I don't really need to explain too much. I think Amin Zahabi is actually pretty good. I think he's quite underrated, and I'm giving him the respect he deserves. But Javid Basharat is just on another level. This guy's undefeated. He's an absolute stud, and he's going to be a problem, man. You know what I mean? He's one of the brothers of the Basharat brothers, and the Basharat brothers, in my opinion, are just so technically well-rounded everywhere in MMA. So I think Javid Basharat's going to win a decision here. I think he's just going to outpoint Amin Zahabi, and there's not much to say, guys. I think Amin Zahabi's good, but I don't really see him winning this fight at all. He's got good striking, but Javid Basharat's going to be levels above him in every single department of MMA. So give me Javid Basharat to win this fight by decision. We move on into the next fight, guys. Vinicius Oliveira versus Yannis Gomori. I'm going to go with Vinicius Oliveira by KO in the second round. I think Vinicius Oliveira is an absolutely devastating fighter. This guy has vicious knockout power. He seems to be a pretty well-rounded fighter. I haven't watched too much tape on him. I just saw saw that he got a brutal KO on the Dana White Contender Series, and I think he's going to KO Yanez Gomori. You know, if not, I think Vinicius Oliveira beats him by decision. I think Gomori is very just kind of mid-tier, to be honest with you. I don't know how he's in the UFC. He's 12-2, but his whole career is kind of based off split decisions, and the finishes that he has in his career are kind of against bums, you know what I mean, like 10-5, 10-5. Just doesn't have the best resume for me to even think that he has a chance in this fight. So I'm not going to base predictions off of resumes, but I think Vinicius Oliveira has just got an intimidating aura about him. This guy is a fucking savage, has vicious knockout power, and I think he's going to be better everywhere the fight goes. So give me Vinicius Oliveira to win this fight by knockout in the second round. Just give me Vinicius Oliveira to win this fight in general, alright? We move on into the middleweight division. Eric Anders versus Jamie Pickett. So my question is, I have no clue how Jamie Pickett is still in the UFC, but I'm not really going to bother, to be honest with you. I like Eric Anders in this fight, guys. I'm going to go with Eric Anders by a second round TKO. I think Eric Anders is just I wouldn't even say a physical specimen, because that's what a lot of people say, but he's not really a physical specimen. He's just a big, stocky, you know, tanky guy for 185. He packs a lot of power, a lot of knockout power. Jamie Pickett, on the other hand, man, this guy's just like probably the worst UFC middleweight on the roster. He should not be in the UFC. He's on a 4-fight losing streak, and I think he's going to lose this fight by knockout. I think Jamie Pickett, you know, might look okay. You know, he might piece up Eric Anders for like 30 seconds until he gets hit with a big shot and kind of crumbles. So give me Eric Anders to win this fight by knockout in the second or the first round. He's a 4-1 favorite, and I don't see Jamie Pickett winning this fight. I don't think Eric Anders is even that good, to be honest. I just think Jamie Pickett is not UFC caliber, and Eric Anders should kind of wipe him out of there. So we move on into the next fight, guys. Raul Rosas Jr. versus Ricky Turcios to open up the main card. I'm going to go with Ricky Turcios here, guys, alright? I know I'm going to cop a lot of slack for this prediction. I know a lot of people are going to, you know, be like, bro, you're actually kind of tripping. I have no clue what you're talking about, you know, going against Raul Rosas Jr. I'm going with Ricky Turcios here, guys. The reality is, Raul Rosas Jr., I think, is just kind of inexperienced, man. I think this guy is very inexperienced. He's 8-1, has 2 wins in the UFC, 1 loss, which is pretty good, but not against the best competition, man. I mean, Ricky Turcios, you can say the same thing for this guy. You know, he beat Kevin Natividad by split decision, which is a very worrying look, to be honest with you. He lost to Ayman Zahabi too. But I think Turcios has the style to beat Raul Rosas Jr. The reality is, if Raul Rosas Jr. doesn't submit Ricky Turcios in the first round, which is what, you know, kind of Rosas Jr. does, he goes in there and finds the back and tries to submit you. I think Ricky Turcios can really put a pace on Raul Rosas Jr. in the second and third round and win the fight. The way that I see it going down, fellas, Raul Rosas Jr. is going to try and submit Ricky Turcios. I mean, it's just... my question is, you know, is Rosas Jr. going to come into this fight composed and patient and try to fight a 3-rounder, or try and get this dude out of the first round? You know what I mean? I think Ricky Turcios, as long as he survives that first round, he's going to be able to kind of just piece up Raul Rosas Jr. from, you know, range. Not only that, but I also think as long as he stuffs the takedowns of Raul Rosas Jr., he could probably find a submission of his own. You know, I think Ricky Turcios just got pretty underrated grappling. You know, Ricky Turcios is a guy that's going to fight for your money. He's a hungry guy, in my opinion. You know, I think he wants to win this fight. I think he wants to make a statement. And Raul Rosas Jr. just got sick. You know what I mean? This fight was supposed to happen literally like 2 days ago. I don't know how Raul Rosas Jr. is going to look. I'm pretty sure he's going to get the job done here, but I like the underdog in Ricky Turcios. I really do. I think this is low-key a bad matchup for Raul Rosas Jr. I think Ricky Turcios is going to be in his face. As long as he can stuff the takedowns, this should be a victory for pretty Ricky. So give me Ricky Turcios to win this fight. A very hard-fought, dirty, scrappy type of fight. You know, kind of just... kind of outdogs Raul Rosas Jr. in my opinion. So give me Pretty Ricky to win this fight as the underdog. We move on into the next fight, guys. We have Umar Nurmagomedov taking on Begzat Almakhan. Now, I'm going to say this right now. I need Umar Nurmagomedov to fight a ranked guy in the top 15, alright? You know, stop fucking bringing these random guys to fight Umar. There's no competition. We don't want to see it, but regardless, Begzat Almakhan, I think this guy is pretty fucking good, man. I really do. He's 17-1 from Kazakhstan, has a lot of momentum around him. You know, he's beating guys who are 15-5, 12-4, 14-1, 12-4. I mean, these are pretty solid guys that he's fighting, and I think he you know, he's got a pretty good chance in this fight. I really do. But the reality is, you know, Umar Nurmagomedov is a future UFC champion. I'm not really too high on Umar Nurmagomedov. I'm not like a crazy Umar fan, but I just think that he's really fucking good. I mean, he's got crazy type of kicks, really good grappling, insanely well-rounded fighter. He's basically Khabib, but if Khabib had, you know, kickboxing skills and could box. I mean, Umar Nurmagomedov just has the complete package. He's a great fucking fighter. I'm not gonna, you know, start hyping up Umar to be like a future GOAT, but I think he has a lot of potential, man. He's 16-0. I see him beating Bekzat Almakhan, but I see him having a tough fight here. I think Bekzat's gonna, swing heavy, look for the fences. Bekzat is a really good fighter himself. I think Bekzat could low-key be ranked in the bantamweight division, but enough for me yapping. I think Umar Nurmagomedov is gonna find the takedowns on Bekzat Almakhan, basically control him on the ground. I think he's just gonna, have like a very dominant decision win, just kind of showcasing his grappling in this fight. A lot of people see the finish. I think this fight goes the distance. So if it, if the over 2.5 is that plus value, I'd love to, sprinkle it. But I think Umar Nurmagomedov, I can't even say his fucking name, dude. I think Nurmagomedov, Umar wins this fight by decision. Holy shit, dude. I keep butchering his name. But we move on into the next fight, guys. We have Matt Schnell taking on Steve Erceg. Guys, there's not much to say here. I'm going with Steve Erceg here. I think Steve Erceg's going to win this fight by decision. I think Steve Erceg's going to, land the cleanest shots throughout this fight. I think he's going to have better moments in the grappling department. And I think Matt Schnell is just kind of washed, man. I think this guy is 34 years old. He's old for the weight class. He's very chinny. I've addressed this multiple times about Matt Schnell. He's got a really weird chin. He just, seems to not be able to take a clean punch on the chin. And Steve Erceg doesn't have too much KO power. I don't think he's going to KO Matt Schnell, but I think he's just going to kind of outclass him, kind of, fight IQ him on a level. I think he's just going to out-grapple Matt Schnell, kind of be in the better positions the whole fight. Really just win a 29-28 decision, in my opinion. Maybe a 30-27, but give me Steven Erceg to win this fight. We move on into the next fight, guys. We have Alex Perez versus Muhammad Mokaev. Alex Perez has not fought in about 2 years, so I'm automatically going with Muhammad Mokaev. I will say this, though. I do think that Alex Perez is actually a pretty solid pick. I mean, he could be a really bad matchup for Muhammad Mokaev. Mokaev was losing to Tim Elliott before he got the submission, which is kind of worrying to think about. But Alex Perez, on the other hand, this guy has got pretty nasty leg kicks, pretty decent stand-up, good jiu-jitsu, but I just think the inactivity is going to really cost him here. Alex Perez is also kind of an old guy for the division. I believe he's like 32. I feel like he's already had his peak moment, fighting Figgy for the belt, losing by like submission in 2 minutes. I think Muhammad Mokaev is the real deal. I think Alex Perez is probably going to win the first round. I think Perez is going to win the first round with leg kicks, kind of just piecing up Muhammad Mokaev. I think Perez is going to look really good here early on, but I think, the longer this fight goes, it's going to benefit Muhammad Mokaev. And I see Mokaev, getting a lot of takedowns in this fight, and I see him getting a third round submission. I don't know what it is with Muhammad Mokaev, but he has this tendency to be able to finish guys in the third round. Third round Mokaev is a mythical fighter. And I think Alex Perez, the longer the fight goes, I don't know if he's going to gas out, pardon me, guys. I don't know if he's going to gas out, but I just think that Muhammad Mokaev is going to have this intense pace with the wrestling. He's going to be constantly taking down Alex Perez. Alex Perez has been submitted 5 times in his career. That's all I need to know. I'm going with Muhammad Mokaev by submission in the third round. I do think that Alex Perez is a pretty good underdog. He's coming in as a 3-1 underdog. So, I mean, if you really want to take the chance and sprinkle on Perez, he can get it done. But I see Muhammad Mokaev getting a submission in the third round. So give me Muhammad Mokaev to win this fight. We move on into the co-main event, guys. All right, we have Vitor Petrino taking on Tyson Pedro. So the first thing that I want to talk about, guys, is Vitor Petrino has to be one of the most juiced guys in the UFC. This guy is built like a fucking absolute unit. I mean, he's just insanely fucking juiced, bro. I think him and Jolton Almeida were made in the same lab. I'm not going to worry about it too much. It just kind of fucking drives me crazy, dude. He's on so much sauce. But regardless, he's going to be taking on Tyson Pedro, who is 10-4. And I'm a big Tyson Pedro fan. Of course, I'm going to be a fan of my Australian fighters. But the reality is I don't really know if Tyson Pedro is that good. He's coming off a first-round KO against Anton Tokali, but realistically, I don't know how good Anton Tokali is. He's 0-3 in the UFC. Hasn't really shown too much, success. So I don't really know how to rate that win. Other than that, Tyson Pedro has got wins over Harry Handsucker and Iki Villanueva. These are like the worst fucking fighters in the UFC. Guys that never should have been in the UFC regardless. So he's been fighting a bunch of cans, beating a bunch of cans. He recently lost to Modestas Bukauskas. I can't even say his name, Bukauskas, which is not really a good look, you know what I mean? If you're losing to Modestas Bukauskas, that kind of says a lot about where you are in your career. You're kind of, on that lower level in the light heavyweight division. And I think Vitor Petrino, man, is just going to win this fight, based off of steroids. I really think he's just going to win this fight based off of steroids. I think Vitor Petrino is way more bigger than Tyson Pedro. He's going to be a lot more physically intimidating. I think the only way Tyson Pedro wins this fight is if he kind of out-grapples Vitor Petrino to a decision, which I think he can do. But I like Vitor Petrino in this matchup, guys. I think Vitor Petrino wins this fight by decision, maybe a knockout. I see Vitor Petrino winning this fight by decision. I think he's just going to land the biggest shots throughout the fight. I think he's going to be way stronger than Tyson Pedro. I think he's going to be able to out-grapple Tyson Pedro. And I think it's a closer fight than people are saying. I think Tyson Pedro is going to look good in the first round with the leg kicks and, you know, maybe have some success. But I see Vitor Petrino winning this fight, guys. I mean, I would like to pick Tyson Pedro, but I just don't feel really confident in it. So I'm going with a medium confident pick in Vitor Petrino. I think he gets it done either by knockout or decision. You know, if the over 2.5 is that plus value, I love to, you know, sprinkle that. But give me Vitor Petrino to win this fight, guys. We move on into the main event, guys. Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Shamil Gaziev. Now, I've been, you know, going back and forth on this fight, but I kind of had to, you know, contemplate to myself. I kind of had to realize that Jairzinho Rozenstruik is pretty fucking bad. I mean, this dude is a really good kickboxer for the division. He's got good striking. He's pretty quick with the hands. He's got vicious knockout power. He's knocked out a lot of dudes in the UFC, but he has no ground game whatsoever. You know, the recipe to beating Jairzinho Rozenstruik is taking him down and holding him on the ground. That's just really all it is. And I think Shamil Gaziev is the complete package. You know, this guy is a fucking menace, bro. He's 12-1 as of right now. Has some good wins, you know what I mean? He's beating guys who are 13-1, 6-0, 17-5, 4-1, 13-0. I mean, these are some solid wins. And I'm not going to, you know, base a pick off of resumes. I'm not just going to, you know, pick someone because they have the better resume. That's not what predicting fights is all about. But I just think Shamil Gaziev has a lot more tools in his, you know, toolkit than fucking Jairzinho Rozenstruik. This fight is basically, you know, whether Shamil Gaziev gets the submission victory or whether Jairzinho Rozenstruik finds that punch on his chin, knocks him out clean. But for me, guys, I'm going to switch my pick. I'm going to flip my pick over to Shamil Gaziev by submission. I really hope he wins, man. I'm not ready to see Jairzinho Rozenstruik get another, you know, underdog KO victory. But I think Shamil gets it done, guys. I really think this fight, you know, it all comes down to the first round. It's going to be very, very interesting. I think Jairzinho Rozenstruik, if he does stay patient, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how this fight plays out. But I'm expecting Rozenstruik to go in there and try and land a big punch on Shamil Gaziev. Gaziev, you know, gets the takedown, you know, fucking just avoids a huge right hand, gets the takedown and submits Jairzinho Rozenstruik. I mean, Rozenstruik has lost by submission. I'm just going to double check real quick, guys. Bear with me. Jairzinho Rozenstruik has lost by submission one time. Well, I thought he you know would have been sub like a lot more times, but regardless, I think Shamil Gaziev is going to be the second person to submit Jairzinho Rozenstruik. I think the reality is Jairzinho Rozenstruik, if he fights patient, you know, he has a good chance of winning this fight. But I think at some point he's going to try and land a big shot on Shamil Gaziev. And I think Gaziev's going to time a really good takedown, get the takedown straight away, move into side control, probably pass, you know, Jairzinho Rozenstruik's guard. Because like I've been saying for about 5 fucking minutes now, Jairzinho Rozenstruik has no ground game. So it's pretty easy to do whatever you want to him on the ground. I think Jairzinho Rozenstruik's in for a tough fight here. I think Shamil Gaziev takes him down, submits him in the first or the second round. Give me Shamil Gaziev to win this fight by submission, guys. And those are my picks for UFC Fight Night, Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Shamil Gaziev. Guys, as always, I want to say thank you so much for watching the video. Let me know what your predictions are down below. Let me know what your bets are down below in the comments. I will be streaming pretty soon. And I want to say, guys, that I will be live for this Fight Night card. I haven't been live for too many cards in the past, but I've got everything set up. I'm looking to be live for this UFC Fight Night event. So come say what's up. I'm going to be live this Saturday night for all my American viewers, and for all my Australian viewers, I will be live in the Sunday morning at the start of the UFC Fight Night event. But guys, I want to say thank you so much for watching the video. Don't forget to go ahead and please like, subscribe if you're new. Guys, like I said, at UFC Mexico, we went 9-12. This week, I'm looking to make a big splash, you know, carrying the momentum of some good picks. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what your picks are. You know what I mean? I'm not going to keep repeating myself for the gang, but I appreciate you guys as always. And until next time, guys, stay safe, my brothers. Wuss.